Welcome to Boomers on Travel. Yes, you can enjoy travel to foreign and exotic destinations, even if you're a boomer on a tight budget. Here are your hosts, Irene and Mike. Now, let's talk travel.
Well, Irene, we're back for another podcast. And do you want to tell our fellow travelers what's on today's podcast?
Oh, I'd love to, Mike. I think our listeners, the ones that have pets, are going to be very interested in this program that we have today. Our podcast is great because we're covering an area everyone who has a pet has to go through before they can travel.
Our family members. We consider them family members in this household.
Oh,
right?
that's for sure. Our animals are our family, and some of them even rule the roost once in a while.
Irene and I made a conscious decision that we retired. And a lot of people say, you know, the kids are gone and so forth. We're retired and we want to travel, but we have pets. We made a conscious decision that that's what we're going to do. And even though the kids are left, hey, the pets are still here. And they're like children that never grow up, but they're part of our family.
Well, that's for sure, Mike. For 30 years when we traveled, we relied on our daughter to take care of our animals. But one day she said to us, Mom and Dad, do you remember, Mike? She said, Mom and Dad, this pet sitting is getting a little bit too much.
And she really drew a line in the sand. That was it. She was through with it.
That's for sure. I remember that. She said, we've got to come up with a plan B because this plan A is no longer working. So we thought about it and pondered about it, and then all of a sudden, Matt Zito from Travel Startups gave us an idea. He did an interview with Andy Pak out of London, who is the CEO with his sister, and they own Trusted House Sitters. And that opened up everything for us.
It's a whole new thing. It was really fantastic.
We were so excited. And we have used them 3 times in the last few years. One time for 2 months, other times for a month each. And it's a great service. We're going to let you hear Andy's interview with Matt Zito from Travel Startups.
Okay, here it is.
This is Matt Zito with the Travel Startup Founders Series, short stories direct from CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs. Today I am with Andy Pak, the founder of TrustedHouseSitters.com. TrustedHouseSitters.com helps home and pet owners find trusted sitters to care for their home and pets while away. Welcome, Andy.
Hello.
So we've tried to do this one time before, and all my electricity in my condo unit went out, so we're regrouping on this call. Thanks a lot for sitting in and going for round 2 here.
No problem.
So why don't you go ahead and tell a little bit about your story about TrustedHouseSitters.com, you know, what it is, and you know, how you got started in this business.
Okay. Well, TrustedHouseSitters.com solves a very common dilemma for homeowners when they go away, who will look after their home, who will care for their pets, who will keep the plants watered. And it also helps a lot of people find an affordable retreat. So I set this up 3 years ago when I was looking for somewhere to write from, and I found a beautiful home to look after in Galicia, Spain. I'd heard of house sitting but didn't really know how to find a house sit. Trawled the internet, found a great place, and the owners were very surprised that they'd been able to find somebody quickly. And we talked about the fact that clearly this was something that would be in demand. And I just realized that all over the world, this is a common problem. So it really ticks a lot of boxes for both parties. And the way that it works is that homeowners find someone that will house sit for them free of charge in exchange for a free retreat. So it's a great altruistic win-win for both parties.
Yeah, it's definitely a win-win. In fact, my mother and father-in-law are here, and we live in a community called Lake Wales, Florida, and they travel a lot. They go to Europe all the time, and they have 2 pets, and it's really actually an ordeal for them trying to line up house sitters, and usually my wife gets stuck taking care of them. And so I told her about your site, and she went and signed up recently, and they have a beautiful home, and they actually recently got 8 inquiries of house sitters to come to their home for their next vacation. So they're really, really excited about TrustedHouseSitters.com.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think from a recent survey that we did, something in the region of about 98% of homeowners had found a sitter via the site. It's a quick and easy thing to do. It saves a lot of time, and it basically puts people's mind at rest when they've got a lot to do with going away and getting on with other stuff that they're doing. Conversely, on the flip side of things, it's fantastic as well, obviously, for somebody that perhaps wants to go and house sit in Florida or wherever, because for a very small registration fee to the site, over 75% of sitters have found an incredible house sit within the first 6 months, which offers excellent value for money and an opportunity to go and stay somewhere a little bit different, enjoy the company of some great pets sometimes, and just enjoy a great house sit.
And so this is basically a two-sided marketplace. You have the homeowners and the house sitters, and two-sided marketplaces in the travel business are actually really hard to build. But you've been successful building it so far, and I just think one of the most powerful components of it is that if someone wants to actually go and travel for free, this is an opportunity for them if they'll stay in the home and watch the pets. So that's like a really, really powerful component of the marketplace, is the actual ability to travel for free. That's a beautiful thing, and it's just I think this is really, really going to be successful. You said you've only been doing it for 3 years, and the marketplace is getting pretty big. I was just looking at on your Alexa ranking, and I think the Alexa ranking is like 55,000 or something like that. So you've been growing, I think, pretty fast. And so, what do you think is the future for TrustedHouseSitters.com? What do you envision this becoming?
Well, it's clearly part of this flying collaborative consumption kind of peer-to-peer phenomenon. It wasn't something I'd heard of when I set this up, but I think that everything points towards it growing very quickly. We're getting over 50,000 visits to the site a week. We've got 23,000 members. We've been featured in a lot of press globally. We set ourselves high expectations to be the best at what we do. And we really go the extra mile to offer excellent customer service. We're very passionate. We've got a lot of first-hand experience from house sitting ourselves. We've identified a number of ways that we can bolster certain aspects of the site. We can build partnerships to help with things like conversion ratios, and we're just finding the right partners to build things with, and really take things to the next level, because all of the feedback that comes back is extremely positive all over the world, and we love that. It's great.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to talk about just shortly is one of the things I try to do on the calls is inspire entrepreneurs and founders to build great travel companies, and you're obviously doing that. Take me back to like the beginning days. You said that 3 years ago you were just looking for a way to travel and do some writing, and can you explain can you take me through the process of like how you got the idea originally, and then what were like the next steps? Like how did you execute and move forward to okay, how do I get it? I'm house sitting. How do I get the second person to start house sitting?
Well, I suppose I've done what a lot of people have done. I classically came out of a corporate marketing background. I was with Red Bull and Diageo and so forth. I'd travelled quite a lot. I've travelled about 4 times around the world, been to about 60 countries. Travel's part of a big interest of mine, and writing and so forth. So I came at this from something that I have a genuine interest in, and I think that's very important. And I saw the benefit of being able to go off the beaten track and away from the usual hotels and so forth. I came across this. I thought, right, it's a viable idea. I did a lot of research. I spent a lot of time talking to people and finding out from the market, playing devil's advocate. I haven't run a tech business before, so again, I did a lot of research. It was important for me to find the right people involved, so the right person to help develop the website, put the wireframes together, find the right designers, and reach out into the market. And that wasn't the easiest thing to do, as with all of this stuff, it is a bit of chicken and egg. But I built strong relationships with the people that joined the site early on, and I sought feedback from customers, and I spent time talking to people that were on the site, and I'd pick up the phone and have a chat and just glean as much information as possible, because for me, I thought that to become the most knowledgeable person in this market of what we do is important. And I think that solid foundation of building strong customer service and looking after people has meant that through excellent word of mouth and so forth, we've grown really strongly since then, consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important to acknowledge here that when you first got started, you did a lot of research and everything, but when you went into it, you actually engaged with the house sitters and homeowners, and you really reached out and you talked to them, and I think that we call that customer support, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning think, especially with data and technology, they just don't want to have that connection with the actual customer or client. They don't want to talk to them. They just want to have everything automated and running and make money that way. And that's really just not the way to build a business, and definitely in the beginning and for the long term. So I appreciate you sharing that. Anything else? Sort of the follow-up, finish up here with the interview you want to talk about?
Not really. I just think the good karma wins through. I think, if you look after people and you go that extra mile and you don't scrimp. So we constantly reinvest in the business. We put everything back into it in terms of people, resource development, because we genuinely love what we do, and we get emails on a daily basis on helping rich lives. And we believe it's a great way of traveling and finding out new places. And when people join the sites, they get an email alert each day about the latest house sits. And it's a great way to get out and discover something different.
Yeah, I think this is really an awesome community. I'm so glad that you reached out to me to do the interview, because I just didn't know about your company. I do now. And I think, to sum up everything that you said, you love what you do, So as entrepreneurs, you've got to love what you do. You got to get up every day and have passion for what you're doing. You got to have passion for your customers and your clients. And so kudos to you and TrustedHouseSitters.com. This has been Matt Zito with Andy Pak, the Travel Startup Founder Series, inspiring entrepreneurs, founders, and entrepreneurs to build great companies. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you very much, Matt. Great speaking to you.
This morning, we're here with Jim Schindler.
G.
And we're here, and if you hear some external noise, don't worry about it. We're down here because Jim and I figured we do much better in the full belly, so we're at the local restaurant in downtown Lake Wales, and family restaurant, and had some good breakfast. And Jim, we had the opportunity to have Jim in our home to set for our cat Higgins, our 17-pound rescue. So, Jim, tell us a little bit how you found Trusted House Sitters, what experiences you've had with it, and so forth.
Okay. I found them online and figured that would be a good way to go around and see different places to fly. I'm a new Florida resident, basically, and I figured this would be a good way to explore different parts of Florida, East Coast, West Coast, the villages, without having to pay the hotel bills that go with it. And it's been very enjoyable. I've got to see most all of Florida and had some good times.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier during breakfast, you said, because it really doesn't cost you anything, and it's a trade-out. You trade out your time, and they trade out their property, basically. But you kind of got me laughing a little bit when you said, it's pretty good. Sometimes it can be expensive depending who you are.
Yes.
You want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, you figured it's going to be a free vacation, and it can very well be a free vacation. However, you're in a new location, you pass by something, it's, geez, that looks like a great restaurant, I want to try that. Or you find a great bar right overlooking the ocean or overlooking the bay, and you want to try that, so I go there. And a great new food store, so you want to get some of that food. And it adds up. You're not paying rent, you're not paying water and so on and so forth, but you end up spending a lot of money on food that you normally wouldn't spend. I don't want to go to a nice place in the coast and have grilled cheese sandwiches all the time.
Right.
So I want to go out and eat and celebrate the local culture and experience the local culture. So.
Yeah, you were mentioning about the scallops. Like my wife and I, we had scallops the other night with spaghetti. I think Publix, it was on sale for like $19.99 a pound, and you said you went.
We found a little place in Dunedin, a little store called Sprouts, which is similar to Trader Joe's up north, and the scallops were a special $5.99 a pound.
Oh my God.
The sea scallops.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we got like a pound and a half and just ate like kings for 2 days.
Great. You know, when Irene and I did the crossing, the ocean crossing out of Lisbon, I did a little tweet of what we're going to be talking about, obviously this show. And I said, yeah, and we'll talk to Jim, the man that in his naked parrot. You know, I thought that everybody's been on Facebook to say, what's about the deal in this naked parrot? Jim, you want to tell us a little bit about the naked parrot?
The parrot had
Oh, by the way, this is PG.
This is
Yeah.
The parrot had a nervous condition, and as soon as feathers would start coming out, it would pluck its own feathers. Obviously, the head was fully formed and had feathers, and all the coloring was there because it couldn't get at the head. But every other part of the body, as soon as a feather would start coming out, it would just pluck its feathers out. It lived a normal parrot life. It was just a naked parrot. Sit up there on his perch, and every now and then would just bellow out, "What's your problem?" Have to do a double take and say, "Where'd that come from?" What's your problem?
That's funny. That's funny.
But it was.
So I know when we first started Trusted House Sitters, we'd put a request out, and I think we've done 3 or 4 now. And the first one we got was a couple out of Hong Kong who was doing world traveling, and they were good. But we must have had probably 40 inquiries. So it's kind of tough, isn't it? Sometimes to get some of these gigs.
Oh yeah, right now I'm pretty well. A gentleman over in Melbourne calls me when he's going somewhere, and he says, you know, "Hey, we're going away here. Are you available?" Mm-hmm. So you kind of establish a clientele, so to speak. Well, again, as with you, I've said several times with you, and
I remember. I don't remember it. But you happened to meet my daughter and my son-in-law and said, "Oh, by the way, I replied to this interest, and we found out it was us, right?"
Yeah.
That was funny. That's how
met them up at the Bach Tower at the German festival up there.
Yeah.
What did they call it? The Oktoberfest.
The Oktoberfest. Yeah. So that worked out really, really well. Yeah. And but now. Some people want to travel the world, some people want to go to Europe, some people want to go to Asia, wherever you want to go. But you kind of had the idea that I'm in Florida, I'm retired, I'll probably possibly stay in Florida, so this is giving you a good chance to travel the state pretty much.
Yes.
In the coast, different coasts. Because Florida has a lot of variety, there's no doubt about it. And as a joke last night at Trivia Pursuit, they said, one of the trivia questions was, what state has the lowest elevation? And I was surprised by how many people put down Florida, which was wrong, because we live here in Lake Wales. And my joke is it's the Florida Alps, because we've got Bach Tower, it's like 328 feet above sea level, right? So it's funny because Florida has a lot of diversity to it. And it's a long state, but the East Coast, West Coast, Central Florida, South Florida, North Florida, there's a lot of different things. You can see just in this one state alone, isn't there?
Yeah, it's all different. And, again, my personal preference happens to be the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
I like the Gulf of Mexico much more than the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
It's much more tranquil, and it's warmer, right. And a lot better beaches, in my humble opinion. I'm sure the people over in the Atlantic coast would think differently, but
right.
You know.
And doing a little reverse here, because as a homeowner, the first thing I say is, I want somebody to come into my home. I don't want to come back and somebody say, "Oh yeah, the moving van left last week." You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. But everybody's pretty well vetted. But on your side, as a person who is the sitter, you want to look at properties and you want to see pictures and you want to make sure that's a mutual highway, basically. So,
yes.
What's your criteria when you look at what you would possibly like to set? What piques your interest when you get ready to say apply for a position?
Basically, locale. If I'm interested in that specific locale, and if they have Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's a big.
The Wi-Fi, and again, central location, different activities around the area. I don't want to go and sit 28 miles from the nearest town.
Right.
So I want to have some activities to do and see different things around in the area.
So I think you told me you've done high rises, you've done all kinds of different experiences.
And, again, with the Naked Parrot, it was fantastic. They had a porch and an enclosed lanai with the pool and a hot tub. And you could fit at least 100 people out there in that enclosed lanai. I sat out there in a bathing suit watching their outdoor TV most of the time.
Oh my God! Now, did you email them saying you sure you want to come back?
Yeah.
Can I stay another week?
Yeah. Again, they called me back to come to the Naked Parrot, but the husband took ill.
Oh.
Excuse me, but I would go back there in a heartbeat because they were decent people too. They were really good people.
Wow. I think that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And you just get to meet different people and.
Right. A lot of people that retire today are fairly mobile. I know my wife and I, we were fortunate enough to work in Europe for 3 years, and there's times, I guess if it wasn't for close family here, that we consider going to, say, Portugal or Italy for, reverse snowbird. We have to come up with a term for that, going over the pond, but, for 3 or 4 or 5 months a year. And that's what's nice, because when we travel and doing it the way you're doing it, you can see different areas. It's like you say, do I want to spend 3 months here? Or maybe I want to spend a month here, a month here, and a month here, because we're so transient today.
Yeah.
That's what's wonderful about that, you keep yourself from getting bored, and it sounds like you're having a great time doing what you're doing.
It's hard to hit a moving target. So just keep traveling around, and again, as you were having concerns about somebody coming into your house, most of the people will interview you and say, once they find out what your background is, you've already established a background through the service.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want to be having 3 20-year-olds come down and watch my place during Bike Week in Daytona.
That's true.
I just don't think that my house or my pet would get the utmost attention it deserves. So I'm sure people do have to watch out for that. Right. And I try to go in, try to leave the place better than what I found, and treat the animal. I'm a former animal owner, and I want to treat the animal like I'd want my animal treated.
That's probably the most important thing people think about, because we use the term pets, but a lot of time they're to most people really family members.
Pets are family members.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And that's great. The one thing that I've got out of this is you and I are sitting here. We just finished breakfast. It's been a great day. I got so much good information. But we had you as a pet sitter, which was fantastic. But probably the better thing's probably a wrong term, but the lasting thing is you and I formed a friendship. You and I, my wife Irene, we go out and have coffee, we go out and have lunch once in a while, and that's a lasting effect of this for pet sitting. So that's a great thing also.
I'm sure that happens. Well, again, like I said, gentleman from Melbourne, Joe, calls me, and it's great. He went down there, we went out to dinner, and just again like an old friend. Hey, okay, and you're coming to sit again, okay. And you there are relationships.
Yes,
it's not just like the window cleaner coming in.
Right,
and,
right. Right.
You're allowing me into your home, and I want to respect that, and I want to treat your home as I would hope you would treat mine.
Well, Jim, this has been a fantastic interview, and we still got another cup of coffee to go, but listen, thanks an awful lot. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Irene, I really had a great time talking to Jim Schindler today, and Trusted House Sitters is really a great service. Do you have anything else that you would like to add to our audience?
Well, I agree, Mike. I think that you can't do wrong by using Trusted House Sitters. That's my personal opinion. It's worked for us, and I hope that some of our listeners, that might be useful information for them, so that when they're planning their next trip, this will be one less concern that they'll have. Who's going to take care of my pets? Well, I'm going to call Trusted House Sitters.
That's a great idea. Next podcast is going to be kind of exciting, because we're going to talk about family. Do you want to get a little tease on that, Irene, about family for our next one?
Well, you've heard that saying, well, follow the money. Well, in my case, when we travel, we follow the roots, and that's our roots. So perhaps you might want to listen to this next program, because maybe that's what you'll like to do when you travel, is follow your roots.
Travel is so much fun. I remember when I was young, There used to be a program on CBS. Maybe some of you boomers out there remember it. Charles Kuralt, and he's always traveling. And I'll quote Charles Kuralt. What I loved about his program, the way he ended it, he always says, I wonder what's around the bend. That's what Irene and I have been doing for years. I wonder what's around the bend.
We're looking for what's around that bend. So we hope you all enjoyed our podcast for today, and we look forward to
seeing you again,
I guess. Bon voyage. Happy travels.
Boomers on Travel thanks you for being a part of our growing travel family. Join us next week for Travel Talk, focused on value and exciting travel destinations.